Okay, let's get right into it. We're not talking about some fluffy motivation today. No, this is about a full-on mental reprogramming. I want you to think of your mind as an operating system, an OS. And today, we are installing a massive upgrade.
So let me ask you this. Is your mental OS running on outdated software? Are you still using those factory default settings, the ones that kind of hold you back? Because if you are, it is definitely time for a forced update.
And this, right here, just nails the core difference. See, the average thinker, they're focused on the destination. They say, I want success. But the billionaire thinker, they focus on the vehicle. They ask a totally different question. What system, if I build it and run it every single day, makes success an inevitable byproduct? It's a complete shift from just chasing an outcome to actually building the machine that produces it.
So, let's start the installation. Step 1. We gotta delete the old, inefficient code. This is the core reprogramming, where we uninstall that default thinking that keeps most people completely stuck.
The very first file we are dragging to the trash is goal-oriented thinking. Look, goals are just finite finish lines. You cross them, and that's it. A system, on the other hand, is the machine that gets you there and then just keeps on running. It's a repeatable process that produces the outcome almost automatically. So stop aiming for the goal. Start building the machine.
And here is the real acid test for a true system. If you need motivation to get it done, well, it's not a system. It's just another task on your to-do list. A real system runs on process, not on passion. It works whether you feel inspired that day or not. That's the difference. Okay, so the old thinking is deleted. Now it's time to install our first major software update. We'll call it Musk Mode. And this is all about first principles thinking, which is just a fancy way of saying you break every problem down to its absolute fundamental truths instead of just working from the assumptions everyone else accepts.
And here's the 3-step algorithm for it. Step 1, you have to ask, what is the problem really? Not the symptoms, the actual root problem. Step 2, strip away every single assumption until you're left with only the fundamental truths, the things you know are absolutely undeniable. And then, from those basic building blocks, step 3, you ask, what can I build from here?
Now, the final piece of this core reprogramming is something called time horizon arbitrage. It's a huge advantage. While most people are playing checkers, thinking in weeks and chasing quick wins, the billionaire is playing chess, thinking in decades. And here's the crucial part. They embrace the boring, consistent work today because they know it leads to total dominance tomorrow.
All right, core reprogramming is complete. Now for the really fun part. We get to install the power multipliers. This is where we talk about leverage and asymmetry. These are the tools that generate absolutely outsized results from the exact same amount of input.
So let's break down the different levels of leverage. At the bottom, you've got labor. That's just trading your time for money. A step up is capital, using money to make more money. But the real game changers, the ones that create insane wealth, are at the top: code and media. And why is that? Because they're permissionless. You can build them once and they can work for you, infinitely, reaching millions of people at basically zero extra cost.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. True wealth isn't about working harder. It's about decoupling your income from your time. It's about building things, products, software, media, that work for you while you're sleeping. This isn't just part of the game. That is the entire game. Next up, we're going to install the asymmetric bets module into our new OS. And it's a really simple filter for looking at opportunities. You want to find bets where the downside is small and it's capped, but the potential upside is massive, maybe even unlimited. It's where if you're wrong, you lose $1, but if you're right, you win 1,000.
And to make this super practical, here's a question you can run in your mind every single day. What is one small experiment I can run today where failure is trivial, it costs almost nothing, but success could be totally life-changing? It could be sending one cold email, writing 100 lines of code, publishing one idea. The cost? A few hours. The potential reward? Literally everything.
Okay, so we've installed the core software and the power multipliers. But how do you actually run this new program every day? Right? This is all about execution, turning all this theory into practice through a rotation of mental models and, most importantly, a fundamental shift in your identity.
I want you to think of this as a weekly workout for your new mind. Instead of trying to juggle all these concepts at once, you just focus on one powerful mental model each day. So Monday, you're asking, what compounds here? Then Tuesday rolls around and you're thinking, how do I get 10 times the result with leverage? This daily rotation systematically builds that thinking muscle until it becomes your automatic default.
Okay, listen up, because this might be the most important part of the entire upgrade. The change doesn't stick until your identity shifts. You don't just change what you do, you upgrade who you are. You stop saying, I want to be rich, and you start thinking, I am a builder of compounding systems. You see the difference? The identity has to come before the results. You become the person first, and then the rewards have no choice but to follow.
All right, let's complete the installation. This is where we distill this entire philosophy down into a single core mantra for executing the long game.
This is it. This is the ultimate summary, the command line for your new OS. You need to mentally tattoo this on your brain. Think like an owner. Take total responsibility for everything. Act like a scientist. Test all your assumptions. Stay detached from the outcomes. Bet like a capitalist. Put your resources where there's that massive asymmetric upside. And finally, wait like a monk. Have the patience to let your systems compound over decades.
And if any of this feels overwhelming, like maybe you're behind, I want you to remember this. You've stopped playing their game. You're not on their clock of weeks and months anymore. You are now playing the long game, the game of decades. And in that game, you are not late. You are just getting started. You're early.
So the installation is complete. Your mental OS is upgraded, and now there's only one question left, and it's the only one that truly matters. What system will you build today?